I like, click, subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. It's Netflix time. This joint's called The Girl on the Train. A troubled divorcee fixates on a seemingly ideal couple from afar until a shocking observation sends them spiraling straight into a knotty murder case. So this is the Hindu Indian version of the movie. Now I remember reading the book a long time ago and then I seen the adaptation of The Girl on the Train 2016 version. Now, if they created their own version of the story, it's fine, but they're saying the illustration is done by Paula Hawkins, so they're basing it off the books. So we're going to see how it holds up, and oh yeah, spoiler alert to the fucking max. So right off the back, we had this girl getting chased in the woods by somebody. Then it cuts to Mira standing at the high road station with this ridiculous gash on her head. And that's how the movie starts before the credits even roll. So the movie legit starts with a wedding. Here in the middle with the black jacket on, we have this guy named Shakir. And here we have Mira. So they feeling each other, they getting it popping. So they're actually the best man and best woman to this other couple's wedding. They get to talking. Around that time they go to dinner. And he proposes to her, she says yes. They get themselves a nice house. And they move to the city. Now Mira's occupation is that she's a lawyer and this black truck is following her around one day for some reason. She makes it to the house unharmed. But then somebody throws a rock through her window. And the rock had a message on it that says, "Don't take up the case or you'll receive consequences." So Shakir doesn't want Mira to take up the case. But she's telling him he gotta be, she gotta be fearless, you know what I'm saying? She's a lawyer, these things happen. But he really wants her to back off of it because he's scared, you know what I'm saying? They about to have a kid. She's thinking about it, but she's gonna take the case anyway. Next day she takes the case and hold on, what the fuck is this? Seriously. Now we established that she's a lawyer, right? Why the fuck is she dressed up like a judge? Makes no sense. So a case is against this guy named Jimmy. He's convicted of fraud, theft, like all types of drugs, everything. So they find him guilty, she wins the case. So apparently she was keeping this family safe. See that guy in the middle? He comes back later on in the story. 6 months later, the couple's happy, she's far along with the baby, and she hasn't gone back to work ever since the case. Because she's more concerned with starting a family. All of a sudden, they get hit by a black truck. They all looking dead as shit, like the fuck, man? Fast forward 2 years later, she's been drinking heavy, she hasn't been at work, the baby died of a miscarriage, and Shinar has moved on. Damn, she's been through the ringer. And now she doesn't even drive anymore, she just gets on trains. Yeah, she's the girl on the train. Just like the 2016 version, right? Anyway, she looks at the old house that she used to be in, and her ex-husband's now got a new wife. And every time Mira gets a chance, she pops up on her ex-husband and Gabrielle just to make their lives miserable. Similar to the 2016 one, she bashes the windows out of his car on some Jasmine Sullivan shit. And now she's back on the train again. While she's imagining her own life, she sees this lady Anad and her husband with the picket fence and everything like that. Happy family. I'm sorry, his name is Anad, her name is Sarat. But something happened to Sarat apparently because 2 days later, police have a report saying that she went missing. They said the last footage that they had of her was at this party. So then they begin to interrogate this random guy who's not really saying a whole lot. Now we backtrack to a week before she goes missing. Mira's on the train drunk again. She's looking out the window and sees Sarat's house, practicing yoga or whatever the fuck she's doing, envisioning what her life should really be at this moment. Mira keeps calling her ex-husband and Gabrielle is getting pissed off about the shit. Shania says Amira hasn't called him and tells her to relax. We're gonna get it popping on your birthday, Gabriella. We're gonna make it rock out. He reassures her everything's all good and gravy. And then they go party. Mira keeps looking up pictures of Shania and Gabriella. It's like, alright, you're killing the mood right now. Her friend gets her tipsy and is like, fuck that, we're gonna have a good time and rock out. But when they get on the dance floor, she sees Shania and Gabriella at the same spot. So yeah, that's an instant buzzkill, but she gets some more drinks anyway. Police are still in the case. I guess they're about to check out the psychiatrist. So they talk to Sarat's psychiatrist, but he doesn't really tell them too much of anything. So we flash back of Sarat running into this guy named Walter. He's talking about some money or something, and now she basically owes. Well, he'll expose some pictures or something like that, and she's like, look, I'll pay you, don't worry about it. Expose her how? Then she meets up with him for her usual meeting, apparently. Then he tells police about the guy they interrogated earlier. Basically saying that he wanted to be her boyfriend, but she wanted nothing to do with him like that. Possibly insinuating that would give a cause for murder. Alright, sure, Doc. Let's roll with that. Then we go to a scene where Nurse Rat was confessing to a psychiatrist that she had sex in the forest with somebody. But that somebody wasn't her husband. Who was it? Then we get to a scene where Sarat were arguing about something. I think it had to do with money and pictures. So our female cop here confronts the husband because, husbands in situations like this are usually prime suspect number one. But he doesn't really give her much of anything either. So just a random small footnote. There's a female that's leading an investigation in this movie. There's a female that's leading an investigation in the 2016 version. But in the book, it's a man that's leading an investigation. So just throwing that out there. Meanwhile, Mira's back on the train again and she sees Sarat at her house, but she's not there with her husband. She's there with a psychiatrist. Mira starts spazzing out because she thinks about what her husband did to her. They're embracing each other and whatnot. Her husband's not there, so what the fuck is going on there? Mira meets up with her homegirl. She's reflecting off all this shit. She goes to the bathroom and she starts explaining to herself what she would do in this situation if she ever saw this girl. Yeah, she talked about killing her while recording herself on video. Yeah, she had an elaborate vision in mind. Of course, this is all theoretical. It's not legit. Police end up bringing this dude in for further questioning. They thought the bloodstains came from him, but it turns out he was just having an argument with this guy's girlfriend, which was not attached to the case, so they had to let him go. Alright, now it's time for some good shit. Mira's back on the train again, but this time she gets off the train and goes straight to Nurse Rat's house. Drunk out of her mind and nobody answers the door. All of a sudden on the high rise she sees her power walking behind the house, and so she follows. But as Nurse Rat is running, Walter's in the background taking pictures. Mira also sees him but then ignores him and keeps going back to Nurse Rat. Then we see her lunge straight at her. So did she straight kill her? What the fuck? Then we get to the scene where she's at the station again. She's riding a bus home with this big ass gash on her head. The next day police and forensics are in the woods and they found Nurse Rat dead as shit. So logic right now is telling us that Mira killed Nurse Rat. But why though? Mira wakes up next morning, she's pretty hung the fuck over. All types of bottles, she been getting it in. So she goes through her phone and she sees that she has a text message saying, "I saw you in the forest, Nurse Rat is dead." So the first person that comes to her mind is the dude Walter. Then she looks at the message she left in the bathroom and starts spazzing out. So the thing is, she clearly doesn't remember what happened. She has amnesia. And the crazy thing is, ever since the car accident, she has already been diagnosed with amnesia on top of that. So apparently in her spare time, she's been going through these therapy group sessions, and we start seeing flashbacks on what transpired after the car accident while Mira and Shannara were still married. He wanted her to sign the divorce papers because they were unhappy, she was getting violent, and she was definitely becoming an alcoholic. At least that's what she kept telling herself. Mira goes to meet up with her friend. Well, all of a sudden police show up and they accuse Mira of killing Nurse Rat. But because they don't have no legit proof yet, they're letting her know that they're watching her. She goes to her psychiatrist trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. He just tells her to relax. She meets up with Surratt's husband and tells him that she's seen Surratt in the house with their psychiatrist. Her psychiatrist. Police talks to Mira's psychiatrist, and he's trying not to give her confidentiality information and stuff like that. But she keeps pushing, and now she's even more convinced Mira did it. Now she has a one-on-one conversation with Mira again, except this time she brought back up. Mira asks her to use the bathroom so she can go take some medicine. She uses this opportunity to escape out the window, but when she did so, she dropped her phone, and she gets away from the cops. Later on, she goes out to help out, asks for the guy's help that she helped out in court. She asks for money, a gun, and some other stuff. She sneaks into Surratt's psychiatrist's car with a gun, and she finds out the reason the psychiatrist was consoling her is because she was pregnant. But he reassures her it's not his baby. So whose baby is it then? Mira goes out by this random ass area near the house, and she talks to this guy to see if he knows anything. He's like, nah. Meanwhile, at the station, they're trying to decode Amira's text messages to see if somebody was extorting her to get money. Alright, these are from the conversations that she was having with that unknown number guy, but I think it was Walter. She goes to the train station to refill her bus tokens. Her bus pass, my bad. And the guy tells her last paid trip was at the high road station at 8:30. 8:30, huh? Okay, so when the cops confronted her and they thought they had evidence on her, they said that her destination came from one spot at 6:30, and she left the high road station around 10:30 on that particular day. Now, she just got information from the train station herself that she didn't leave there till 8:30. So somebody's been tampering with the CCTV footage, but who? That information right there might let you know that Mira might not be the killer. Meanwhile, police are still looking for her. Meanwhile, Mira goes to his church to pay respects to Muskrat at her funeral. With all this going around, that's kind of crazy for her to even show up, but she's sitting all the way in the back. Now, I know she's being framed and all that stuff, but this shit is irritating me. You know police on your tail, you got this big ass gash on your head. Put a fucking hat on or something. Even if you're not being tailed by police, people are gonna notice that big ass gash and everybody gonna be questioning like, hey, are you okay? You good? You know what I'm saying? Like, put a fucking hat on. So anyway, as she's looking at this memorial, she notices in one of the pictures she's holding this phone. The same phone she asked the guy earlier about the whereabouts of Muskrat. So she goes back to him and gets the phone because she ain't full of that tomfoolery. As she's getting back off the subway, she notices this lady from her old job. She was convinced she did all this stuff to her ex-husband, but it turns out it was the exact opposite. Like I said earlier, she was diagnosed with amnesia. After the accident, the husband was really being very verbally abusive to her. He never got fired because of her. He got fired because he was flirting with some other female at the office. And he blamed it all on her. He was the one making her drink. There was one part where he told her that she hit him with a corkscrew, but he actually scraped the screw against his lip himself. He was the one that forced her to sign the divorce papers. He was the one being physical and violent, and he was the one that actually swung the golf club at the picture. So she's been traumatized by a lot of things, but it's actually putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Then she goes through Nurse Rat's phone, and it's about a whole bunch of text messages for Shannara. Talking about how the marriage is failing, he can't wait to be with her, all this type of stuff. Yeah, Mira's about to spaz the fuck out. So she's got a guy, she wants him to dig up all this information on the 8:30 High Mile Road train station footage. So while this is going down, she's about to meet up with Walter, I guess to exchange the money and get some information. Then all of a sudden he gets hit by a black truck. Laid out, done deal, dead. And guess what? The same black truck. So the question is, who the hell is driving this truck? Well anyway, Mira makes a call to Nusrat's husband and finds out the location of Walter's house. And sends a text message letting the police know the evidence is at the killer's house. So she's in Walter's house. And now we about to get into some shit. They got all these photos hanging up. There's photos of Shannara and Gabriella, photos of Mira. Then it replays the scenario. Turns out Mira did not kill Muskrat. Muskrat that day was actually going in the woods to meet Shannara. Shannara caught up to Mira and was trying to put her out for good. He was the one that bashed her head against the rock. That's how she got that scar on her head in the first place. But he didn't kill her, he just left her there. And that's why she had amnesia about most of the events that occurred. Then she makes a phone call to Gabriella. She puts Shamar on the phone and Mira tells him everything. So now he's going to Walter's house to meet her and try to figure out all this other shit. And when he gets to the room, she's got him at gunpoint. Finally, the confrontation. So now he's about to tell her the whole truth. So he tells Mira, yeah, I was smashing Muskrat. But in the forest is when Shannara finds out that she's pregnant with his baby. He's telling her to get rid of it, she's saying no, and he ends up choking her to death. Or at least so he thought. He tries to get her to have a drink, but instead she gives her the phone that he had. But as he's going for the phone, she turns around and smacks him with the butt of the gun. He got knocked the fuck out. Alright, so here now really comes the crazy shit. As she goes back in the red room to pick up more pictures and investigation, she finds out the information of the black SUV and is owned by Jimmy Braga. Yeah, the guy she had locked up at the beginning of the movie. But there's no way he could have did it. Why is that information in Walter's house? So she does some more digging and come to find out that Jimmy's daughter is the cop that's been tailing her the whole movie. That's right, she's been framing her since day one. But the question is, why though? Well, apparently just because of Mira doing her job, her dad ended up hanging himself in prison. Mira's thinking to herself like, bitch, you killed my child. And she's like, you deserve much worse than that. God damn, like really? So she goes further into the scenario. After Shannara choked out Nasrat, she still wasn't dead. The police officer was actually the one choking out Mira, but couldn't finish the job because Muskrat saw her. So the scene at the beginning of the movie was when Nusrat was being chased by the cop. And you see the train in the background? Mira was actually on the train watching it, but obviously couldn't tell who it was. But the crazy thing is when Mira sent that message earlier, she knew somebody from the office would come. So she tries tussling the gun away from her, but ends up getting shot, done deal to her ass. And then puts that gun in Shannara's hands, cleaning her hands off of it for the evidence. Shannara gets arrested. Gabrielle meets him to give him the wedding ring back. She's like, man, you a clown ass nigga for that shit. And Mira goes to visit Nusrat's grave. And of course, the only way the movie could end, her riding on the damn train. And that's the Girl on the Train 2021 version for you. I like how they put an extra twist on that at the end of the movie. My only thing is this. If you're going to do something that's similar to the original story, that's all fine and dandy. But don't say it's Paula Hawkins' creation and you're basically changing around shit. Just make it like it's its own separate movie. Oh no, I like the story overall. I like the twist at the end. And basically, if you can get over the fact that they made a movie like this 5 years ago, similar to it, then, I say give it a watch. The Girl on the Train 2021 version on Netflix. Check it out. Like, click, and subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is, mister. Big, you the goddamn slogan.